I can't remember when the last time I went out of my way to pick up a penny was. Is that something that anybody else here regularly does? You see a couple of pennies on the ground, Is it, so a few people nodding yes, a few people think it's worth your back pain to bend over and pick up a penny. I usually don't. It's not that it doesn't really have a lot of value, which it doesn't. It's just that it's really not worth the effort, in my opinion. Not worth the time and the trouble. And then you read something about 1943 Lincoln wheat penny being worth $2.3 million, and you start thinking about stopping and checking every single penny that you see. Or at least I do. Of course, the reason it's worth 2.3 is because you're not going to find it laying on the ground probably, but hey. And I was thinking about that in conjunction with the tale of the woman at the temple who gave the 2 mites. It's 2 copper coins. So sometimes we say 2 pennies. And that section of scripture is almost always used to teach about tithing and offering, which I think is a misapplication, but that's okay. But I think it's about a lot more than that. The widow gave 2 mites, 2 copper coins, 2 pennies, and it was all she had. Not 80%, not, it was all she had. And the rich man gave a lot, but he didn't give, probably much more than a mite more than what he had to. What was expected. And so Jesus said, the woman gave more. Here's the way my weird mind works sometimes. Maybe I'm not the only one who's looked at it this way. I looked at it and went, okay, she gave all that she had. That's pretty easy to do when all you have isn't enough to even buy yourself a meal. I mean, if you're going to, I can't pay any of my bills or buy any of my food anyway, so what does this 50 cents in my pocket mean? I'm not looking to this for any of my help, so yeah, sure, you can have that. Because sometimes we look at it that way. But the point was that Jesus didn't see that as worthless. See, we look at those 2 pennies and go, yeah, she might as well have given it away. She couldn't do anything else with it. Or at least that's how I looked at it. And then something in my spirit said, exactly. That's the point. And she knew it. See, sometimes, more often than I'd like to admit, not nearly as often as it used to happen, I feel like, not like the widow, like the 2 pennies. I mean, everything says I have value. It's printed on me somewhere that I have value, but I know I'm not worth even bending over and picking up off the ground. Just, not worth it. Just not worth it. No value. And God didn't just bend over to pick us up. He gave himself, all of himself. He crossed eternity to enter into time, wrap himself in flesh to be able to pick us up. That is about the equivalent of 2.3 million versus 1 penny. He said, you have value. You have worth. And the difference between the widow was the rich man still thought, I can supply my needs. And I will give what I have to, but I've got what I need. And the widow said, I don't have anything of value. I can't fix myself. I can't feed myself. I can't provide my needs. But if you want what I've got, you can have it. And that's what's so amazing. Imagine if I had $1,000 right now and said, I will trade it to the first person who can bring me a penny. Would there be a race, at least from the young ones? Jesus said, I'll give you everything I am in exchange for everything you are, the good and the bad. Everything right about you, everything wrong about you, everything you think is valuable about yourself, and everything you think would make everybody say you're worthless. I will trade what I'm worth for what you're worth. And then if you're honest, you're going to go, that's not a fair trade because I'm not worth that much. And then God said, oh, but you are. Not because you can meet your own needs. Not because you can do it on your own. Not because the world would look at you and go, that is a person who has it. But simply because you're willing to give what you have to the one who already made you. And then he can do so much. And you can go from something inanimate in your mind, laying in the gutter, not worth bending over to pick up, to 2.3 million. Because God, who is worth everything, put the value of himself, his son, his life on you. That's pretty awesome. So to me, the main part of the narrative of the lady with the 2 mites is not how much you need to be tithing more. I don't know. I don't want to get into it too much, but tithing is not New Testament at all. Sorry. I'm not saying don't give. I'm just saying tithing's not New Testament. It's about giving all of ourselves, and not refusing to come because you're not worth it. It would be so easy, yeah, sure, okay, she could have given everything because it's not going to help her anyway, but at the same time, she could have given nothing because it's not going to make any difference. What can my 2 pennies do? It's not going to help anything. It's not going to make any difference. And Jesus said, I can do anything that I need to do, that I want to do, if you will just give me all of you. No matter how insignificant or worthless or valueless you may see yourself, I can make you new. I can make you whole. And I can bring down walls and set people free and bring life to the dead deserts with your 2 pennies of all of your heart. And we get to do that because he wrapped himself in flesh and died. And we have the power to do that because he didn't stay dead, but he rose and he lives.